Welcome to Brand Builders TV. Deep dive topics, tools and resources brought to you by global thought leaders from within the Brand Builders Club. This show gives you access to the strategies that you can use to move forward with ease and flow in every area of your life and business. In today's show, Simon shares how you can get your child through COVID-19 easily. COVID has impacted us all emotionally, but some have been more affected than others. In today's show, we'll look at why that is and what you can do to get your child through COVID more easily, with insights, practical strategies and tips. Learn it, model it, and get shit done. Let's go.
Hi, good morning to you. Good morning. Welcome to Brand Builders TV. I'm Simon Benn, and I show parents how to help their kids be happy, confident, and resilient. So today we're going to be looking at how you can get through COVID more easily. So this idea was prompted by a conversation I had with my accountant last week. And so I was asking him, how have your clients managed during COVID? And he said, well, better. Some have managed better than others. And he talked about a coach a business coach who had seized an opportunity and become a Zoom coach. So coaching people on Zoom, doing everything. This guy used to do all his work face to face, couldn't do the face to face work. So what he became expert in is all the technical bits and pieces of Zoom and helping other people transition to their stuff online. And he talks about other business owners coping a lot worse than that, going into state of fear and paralysis, not knowing what they should do for the best, and some people just riding it out. And I said to him, so what do you think is the ultimate factor in determining how well an entrepreneur is doing through COVID? And he said that he said, well, I guess it's about the mindset. So I guess it's about the mindset. Then I was talking to some parents following that conversation, and I was getting the same vibe off the parents, that what was happening was they were some of them were handling COVID better than others. I mean, we've been in it 6 months now, haven't we? So we've all got used to doing stuff, but some of us are struggling more than others. So we've got the same outside experience of COVID. Obviously, I'm talking here about people that haven't caught COVID. I'm talking about people that are still healthy. Everybody is having a different experience of what's going on the world outside them. So it can't actually be the event, can it? It must be what's going on inside us. It's not COVID. It's not what's going on outside in the world. It's what's going on inside our heads. And that seems, when I first heard about that, the fact that feelings are an inside job, that our view of the world is an internal view. I thought that's absolute rubbish. I say, are you saying? I said to the guy who was talking to me about this. Well, I said, are you saying that the outside world doesn't affect how I feel? And he said, well, I talked to him about my fear of failure, as in business. I've had a fear of failure about business, and he said, "Well, the failure hasn't actually happened, has it?" And I said, "No." He said, "So you've got a fear. You're not afraid of failure. You're afraid of your thought." And I went, "No, I don't. That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense to me." That makes. He said, "Well, no, it won't make sense to you, because we're brought up in a world where we are at the mercy of external circumstances. So we're brought up. That's the kind of the cultural myth, the conditioning, the stories that we're told when we're growing up. The idea. So to take a trivial example, because obviously COVID is highly I was going to say contagious. Yeah. It's a highly controversial topic, but if I was to take this, and people, I'm sure people will be thinking, what the hell is this guy talking about? Let me take a trivial example, right? So just had my haircut. And the hairdresser walked through the door about an hour ago, and it just started raining. She said, "Oh, look at that. Miserable weather. So we're brought up on the idea that weathers determine moods. That weather, we should be miserable because it's raining outside. That the outside world determines how we feel. And this is so embedded within society, we just don't see it. But we see the outcomes. We see the effects, because every entrepreneur's view on COVID is an internal one. Every parent's view of COVID is an internal one, and every children's view of COVID is an internal one. We've got 7 billion different people on the planet with 7 billion different things going on inside them about COVID. 7 billion different sets of thoughts and feelings, but only one COVID. So parents are concerned about how their kids are feeling about COVID. If you want to change your child's view of this, then your child's going to have to see something different for themselves. They're going to have to see that feelings are an inside job, that the world cannot actually scare us. And for you to be able to point that fact out to your child, you're going to need to see that for yourself, because we can't teach what we don't know. And when I talk about knowing here, when I'm talking about knowing, I'm not talking about like that sounds like a good idea. I'm not talking about an abstract theory that kind of makes sense. I'm talking about a deep knowing, a deep belief, seeing that wholly, seeing that a belief that's in our bones, a belief that's in our bones. So how do we see that then? would be the next question. We're entrepreneurs. We're watching Brand Builders TV. So we're obsessed with the how. We're obsessed with the how, aren't we? How do we do that? How do we do that? So how do we learn any new skill? How do we develop any new knowledge? How do we develop any new understanding? How do we get stuff in our bones? Well, there's two. I heard this last week and I thought it's absolutely fantastic. There's two ways to develop any new knowledge, any new skill, or any understanding, and that's through time and focus. We need to spend some time developing a new skill, developing a new understanding. So think about all the sports stars that spend hour after hour after hour practicing their skills. So the example comes to mind of David Beckham used to do 2 hours a day doing his free kicks or something like that. So as well as all the team training, he did 2 hours a day on free kicks. He honed his skills over time. So that's one way of developing a new skill or an understanding. But there's a difference between honing a skill and developing an understanding. So a skill takes an awful long time, but an understanding that comes in a moment. That comes in a split second. We get an insight about how the world really works, and that happens in a split second. We have an insight. We have a sight from within. We have to have an insight, to get a embodied understanding of how the world works. So the fact that feelings come from thoughts, not the outside world, is an insight, not a theoretical understanding, but a deep insight. To do that, we need to hire a coach. We need to do some reading. We need to do some reflection. We need to do what we do to get new insights about our business. A lot of our business or our parenting, new insights come. Those insights often come, funnily enough, when we're not thinking about it, when we've not got a lot of our mind. So a lot of business people, their insights come from being in the shower. It's got nothing to do with the shower. Or when they're driving home, when they're listening to their favorite song on the radio, there's not a lot on their mind. That's when insights happen. So we kind of need to hang out at the bus stop. If we're going to do this on our own and we're looking for insights about how to help our kids through COVID, how to explain to our kids what's going on in COVID and why we just need to do what we need to do, we don't need to worry about it. Will worrying help? No. Will worrying stop us catching COVID? No. What will stop us catching COVID? Doing all the practical stuff. The washing the hands, the social distancing, all this stuff. We have a world that is bleating on about the way the politicians are behaving. Will bleating on, will that stop us getting COVID? No. So let's put the emotional stuff to one side and focus on the practical stuff. Focus on the practical stuff. Focus on the practical stuff in terms of what you need to do to get your business through COVID. Focus on the practical stuff in terms of what you need to do to get your child through COVID. Let's take the emotion out of it. Let's stop ranting. Let's stop. I fell for this yesterday. 10 billion quid apparently has gone into the track and trace. 10 billion quid. I can't believe that. But anyway, that's the thing. Does that, and my mind, all our minds can go down a rabbit hole of moaning, complaining, ranting. How can they possibly do this? How can they do that? Is that empowering? Is that empowering us? No. Does it empower me? No. It just makes us feel worse. It makes us feel worse. We rant. It's disempowering. It takes us away. It takes us away from that space where we can have insights. It takes us away from that space where we can be taking the practical steps that we need to take to keep our business going, to keep our families safe. The world is ranting about COVID, and it is not helping. Listen to what you need to listen to, but stop wasting time reading articles that are just gonna get us ranting. Feelings are an inside job. Feelings are an inside job. COVID can't make me scared. Only the thought of COVID will make me scared. How will I feel if I'm taking the practical steps to stop getting COVID? I'm going to feel better on it. I'm saying, well, I've done that, and I'm doing that, and I've changed my plans because of this. I can now feel more confident in myself that I'm doing what I need to do to help my family. You see, children do what we do, not what we say. And I've got a slightly non-PC, silly example of this story, and it is absolutely ludicrous. It's absolutely ludicrous, and in the humor, but in the humor, we see the truth. We see the truth. Okay, so this is a story about my dad. So unfortunately, my dad died 3 years ago at the age of 10. So he would have been 83 now. So 73 years ago, his dad caught him smoking. He was smoking when he was caught him smoking when he was 10 years old. His dad caught him smoking. Now, his granddad had told him. His granddad and his dad, my granddad, his dad and his mum, I think. I'm not sure about that. His dad definitely was a smoker. And he told his son not to smoke. So what do you think my dad did? My dad smoked. We don't do what we're told. So my granddad caught him one day. And my granddad, because these are different times, my granddad put my dad over his knee and gave him a good smack for smoking at the age of 10. Here's the stupid bit, right? He had a cigarette in his mouth whilst he was smacking him. You see, kids do what we do, not what we say. And I see this. I see this in myself, not the smoking thing, fun enough, but my dad used to go from extreme optimism to extreme pessimism about business. And I was talking to him once about this, and he said that he felt that worrying kept him on his toes. Worrying about failure kept him. And I thought, oh God, I did that. I do that. I worry about failure. But my dad had always told me not to worry. You see, he worried. He told me not to worry. But I worried anyway. I remember sitting on a beach one day. So this is 40 odd years ago. Dad's reading a newspaper, the newspaper from the day before, because in those days, you went to the newsagent and got the paper. So we're in Malta, island in the Med, and he'd got the paper from the day before, and he was reading that. He was reading something about what was going on in the headlines, and about the economy, and he said, "I wonder if I'll have a business when I get home." And that was one of the only times that I heard my dad worrying. But he told me he used to worry all the time. But here's the thing: worrying doesn't make anything any better. Worrying about your business doesn't make you better. Worrying about your kids and COVID doesn't make it better. What makes us feel better? Well, thinking different thoughts clearly, and doing stuff. Taking action. The two things are completely different. How we feel up and down, we're going up and down. Our thoughts and feelings are going up and down all the day, from elation to pessimism, from optimism to fear. The other axis, the x-axis, is what we do. So let's concentrate on what we do, not how we feel. The most empowering thing for me is to realize the stuff that's going on inside me, the thoughts that are going through my head, are absolute rubbish. Taking my thoughts less seriously and just doing what I need to do, that is the key. Where see so many people who aren't, parents that want to increase their child's confidence, but they're not confident about the way to do that. So they don't do anything. They don't do anything to do it. They put their head in the sand. They put their head in the sand and they don't do anything. They don't know what to do. So they'll just, yeah. But the brave ones, they put their hand up and they say, I've got a problem and I don't know what to do about it. And they look out, they move from the how do I do this? How do I do something I don't know how to do, to who can help me? Who can help me? Because, we don't know all the answers. None of us have got all the answers. None of it, whether it's answers in business life, answers in parents' life, none of us have got all the answers. So we have to, two options. We try and figure it out for ourselves, or we bring in a specialist that knows more about something that we know less about. Thing about entrepreneurs, we're action men or action women, aren't we? We take action, and we think that the rest of the world does that as well. We've got a problem, we tackle it head on. Well, that's not what most people do. So a lot of people shying away from the problem, ignoring it, shying away from it, thinking somebody else is going to sort it out for them. Well, if it's your business, nobody else is going to sort it for you. If it's your child, nobody else is going to sort it for you. You're going to have to do something differently. So if you want to change anything, if you want a different outcome, a different result, whether that's your child's happiness, whether that's your business success, you're going to need to do something differently. You're going to need to be different. You're going to need to be different. You're going to need to be. You're going to need to be the strong leader of your business or of your family that you are. To do that, you're going to need to be open, be dare to be vulnerable about what you don't know, and the skills that you haven't got. Because you're going to need to learn some new. You're going to develop some new understanding and knowledge, and develop some new skills, reinforce some new skills. And why? And how are you going to need to be? How are you going to feel to do that? Well, you're going to have to be open. You're going to need to be confident. You're going to need to be resilient. You're going to need to be creative. You're going to need to be innovative. You need to be optimistic. Where do those feelings come from? Well, those feelings, all our feelings, come from our thoughts. That's where our feelings come from. Our feelings are an inside job, as I said at the top. Our feelings don't come from the world outside us. Our feelings come from what's going on in our heads. They come from our thoughts. So right now, the thoughts running through your head may be, I can't do that. I'm not good enough. I'm not skillful enough. I'm not resourceful enough. I'm not enough. And I get it, because that thought goes through my head all the time. Our businesses, our identity becomes hung up on the fact that we're a parent, or the fact that we're a business owner, and that we're not good enough on that, at that. So if I cut, so our love for ourselves, our mood as business owners, as parents, becomes totally and utterly linked to what's going on in our family or what's going on in our business. And if we've got a family and a business, both. And we start. So if this is what used to happen to me, like, it still happens. If my business is doing well, I feel good. If my family's doing well, I feel good. If my business gets some bad business news, I suffer. My whole identity is wrapped up. My whole self-worth, was totally linked with my net worth, till I broke free of that. Broke free of that about 12 years ago, to the extent where I've got a lot less on my mind about business. My business success doesn't affect me like it used to do. The leverage, where all the change happens, is in who we think we are, our self-worth, not our net worth. Net worth has absolutely no impact on self-worth. Think of all the wealthy business guys and girls that you have seen who are still unhappy. They're putting a plaster. There's one guy in particular that I'm thinking about. There's a lot of rich people who are very unhappy. So they get to that point where so the answer is always buying a bigger yacht or house, and the feeling that I'll be happy when, and they put the I'll be happy when, and it's a never-ending game. These guys and girls don't love themselves. Their love for themselves is not well, they ain't happy because they've got everything that they thought was going to make them happy, and it hasn't. Think about all the actors that commit suicide. They spend all that time. Working as waitresses to get the big Hollywood break. They think that's going to make them happy. They get the break, they get the money, they get the adulation, and they're still unhappy because feelings are an inside job, nothing to do with the world outside us. Compare that to a child. Children have very little on their mind. They're easily pleased. Our love for them is unconditional. They don't need to do anything they don't need to do anything for us to be happy. And here's the thing, you don't need to do anything to be happy, because happiness is an inside job. What if you could get that and explain it with your child? Explain it to your child. Share that with your child. If you want to do that, get in touch. simonbenn.co.uk. See you soon. Bye-bye.
I hope that you've enjoyed the show today as much as we've enjoyed making it for you. If you've got anything out of this episode, please do tell someone else how they can subscribe to the Brand Builders TV channel at youtube.com/brandbuilderstv. Why not join us at our next Brand Builders Thinkubator, a global mastermind that we run every week to take away the loneliness of being in business on your own. For more information and to book your place, visit light.brandbuilders.club/Thinkubator. That's light.brandbuilders.club/Thinkubator. Until next time, be the ripple that you wish to see in the world, and we'll see you soon.